You've already seen her face in the Batman animated series and the Birds of Prey movie. Now see what happens when she doesn't have a face. Join me on day 25 of my Superhero Pride Month challenge, and let's talk nerdy about the faceless detective, The Question. But before we get into that, go ahead and leave your answer in the comments below to this random question. What dad joke would you tell The Question to try to get her to laugh? Making her first comic book appearance in Batman number 475, Renee Montoya was a skilled detective in Gotham City, serving it faithfully and even working alongside Batman on several occasions. Despite living in Gotham, she was doing well in the world. But one day, Renee got mixed up in a battle between Two-Face and Batman, and trying to be a decent human, Renee tried to connect with Two-Face, like show him a little compassion. But unfortunately, Two-Face was a gross man about this and took this compassion as affection, and proceeded to ruin Renee's life. He outed her as a lesbian to the entire police force, he framed her for murder, like all bunch of crazy things, all in a way to make her feel so alone that she would want to be with him. It was really gross. And even though Renee would eventually catch Two-Face and put him away for good, she was still horribly affected by this, falling into a deep and dangerous depression. And after a while, she would leave the police force. It was really getting to her. But one day during her depressive spirals, she was approached by Vic Sage, who was the superhero known as The Question. The Question saw something in Renee that made him want to take her on as his protege, and he would further develop her detective skills, train her in hand-to-hand combat, and even educate her in all aspects of philosophy. And over time, the two of them would become the bestest of friends. It was really adorable. But eventually, all the smoking that The Question would do would catch up to him in the form of lung cancer. And before he passed away, he told Renee that it's not who you are that's important, but who you are going to become. And Renee, it's time for you to change. And with that, he passed away. Superhero rule? And change she did, because now it was Renee's time to take on the mantle of The Question. Now, The Question doesn't have any superpowers, but she is a master detective, she's an expert in both boxing and karate, and she is very skilled with all firearms. But perhaps her most valuable skill, heck, you can even consider this a superpower, is her ability to ask questions. She has question powers. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. The Question would serve as a consistent vigilante in Gotham City, solving crimes and often teaming up with Batwoman. And she would even eventually become commissioner of the Gotham City Police Department on top of being The Question, though no one knew at the time. And her time as a superhero would attract the attention of the Justice League, who would recruit her as the head of security for the Watchtower, which is the base of the Justice League. But now let's talk about The Question's love life, because I love love and I love to talk about it. Now, The Question is lesbian in the comics, and she had relationships with the likes of Daria, who was a high school sweetheart of hers. And the two of them would eventually get married, but then shortly after, it got annulled. Because during this time, The Question was struggling with drinking, they were constantly cheating, and they had a couple of suicide attempts, and all that drove Daria away. And you gotta give Daria some credit, because she was hanging in there for a while. But The Question's most notable relationship is with Kate Kane, aka Batwoman. And we already did a video on her if you want to watch it up here. But these two met after Renee had pulled over Kate for drunk driving, and the two of them started dating, but they would soon break up because Renee refused to come out as lesbian and make their relationship public. But the two of them wouldn't get back together until Renee had become The Question and Kate had become Batwoman, and working side by side in the superhero life made them fall in love all over again. But now it's time to discuss your answers to the random question. What dad joke are you telling The Question to try to get her to laugh? Here's mine. A guy walks into a bar and says, "Ow." But what do you think of The Question? Where does she rank on your favorite superhero character list? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you missed yesterday's video where I talked about Gwenpool, go ahead and click on the box right here, and I'll see you in a bit.